Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Ari and this month I put on makeup for you. I mean, it's my April TBR. So, this month I'm going to change it up a little bit with the TBR, and I feel like most people are probably here for the Dungeon of Books TBR game and not to hear me talk about like all the other random shit that I do for the month. So I'm going to do the rolls for the game first, and then we'll talk about the other books that are on my TBR at the end of the video. Before I get into this month's rolls, let's talk about the books that I pulled last month. Now, last month I pulled 8 books. 4 of them were physical books and 4 of them were digital books. For roll number 1, it was Pretty Cover, and for that I read Litany of Dreams by Ari Maumel. Roll number 2 was Four Seasons at Angelino's, and this was for a book that I don't want to read. Roll number 3 was Desolation Called Peace, and that was for a sci-fi. Roll number 4 was Chain of Iron. That was a fantasy. Roll number 5 was Queen of Shadows, and that was for a book in a series. Roll number 6 was a ugly cover, and for that I read Jude the Obscure. Roll number 7 was just whatever the fuck I want to read, and that was Clara and the Sun by Kazu Ishiguro. And roll number 8 is the only one I haven't completed yet, and that was a random letter generator that brought up an X. And for that I am reading Zingu by Edith Wharton. I'm going to get to that. It's still like the 20th of the month, and that's only like a 25-page book. I'm just reading books in alphabetical order this month, and X is towards the end of the alphabet. So I will 100% complete my entire TBR this month. I just have one more very short book left. One more thing before we get into the rolls, I want to mention that there are a couple of changes that you're going to see to the board this month. First off, I changed the font on the prompts in the bottom corner, so you should be able to read them better. If not, I will put like a graphic on the screen. The other thing is I changed 2 of the prompts. One of them was on there twice, where roll number 6 was a series or standalone, and then I had like roll number 13 was also a series. So that was on there twice. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm blonde. So I changed 13 to other genre, which is basically I've got 6 genres on here already, and if that one comes up, it's something that is just a different genre than I have listed already. And then another one of the prompts was like steal something from somebody else's TBR, and that would require me to wait for other content creators to post their TBRs before I could post mine. And because I don't want to delay this video if that roll comes up, I changed it to a prompt jar, which is just a jar of like one-off kind of prompts. Where it's not something that I would want to like repeat every month and have a chance of that one coming up every month, but you'll see more how that works if it comes up this month, and if it doesn't come up this month, then whenever it does come up, then you'll see how it works. Anyway, let's get into roll number 1. Roll number 1 is a 10. And for that, we need to do a tiebreaker, which is, you know what, I honestly don't know if that's a 9 or a 6, but both of them are under 10, so it doesn't matter, whatever that is. If you can tell the difference on that, let me know, but like I said, it doesn't matter. So for that is a small book. Roll number 1 was a 10, and then the tiebreaker on that was either a 6 or a 9. I have no idea which one is which on that die, but they're both lower than 10, so it doesn't really matter. And that was a book under 300 pages. For that, I am reading Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. This is a non-fiction book about mansplaining. And this is like 150 pages roughly. So very, very short, definitely under 300 pages. I had this on my TBR back in December, but I never got around to reading it just because I had too many other higher priority things. So I want to read it now. It feels like a good time to read about mansplaining. Roll number 2 is it's a 13. And that is other genre. Roll number 2 is a 13, which is other genre, which I brought up that a little bit earlier in this video. So basically the genres that I have on my board are nonfiction, classic, thriller, horror, fantasy, sci-fi. So I need a book that does not fit in one of those 6 genres. So I am going to read this book box book that I have that is The Girl You Left Behind by Jojo Moyes. This is, I'm 99% sure, historical fiction. Maybe like romantic historical fiction. I've only read like the sad books by Jojo Moyes, so I don't know if this is supposed to make me cry too, but I own it. I'm not super excited about it, but I'm not like, I absolutely don't want to read this. So this is what we're going for prompt number 2. Roll number 3. Of course we got a double. It's another 10. And that is a 16. So that's a big book now, which is a book over 500 pages. Roll number 3 was a double, because of course it was. It was a 10, and then this time for the tiebreaker we rolled a 16, which is a book over 500 pages. So apparently my good luck on getting a book under 300 pages is just going to be canceled out by getting a book over 500 pages. And for that, I am going to read Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas and just continue my read through of the Throne of Glass series. I want to get through this before I start A Court of Thorns and Roses, and everybody is talking about ACOTAR in that series right now. So I just need to like power my way through like the remaining three books in this series, but they're chunky. So this is, I don't know, like I'm not even to the end, and that's like 670 pages. So it's definitely well over the 500 page mark and will count for a long book. Roll number 4. It's a 3. And 3 is a Goodreads choice TBR. Roll number 4, I hit a 3, and that is a book off of the books that I want to read from the 2020 Goodreads Choice Award nominees and winners. And I am going to choose one of the winners for this, and I'm going to read Midnight Library by Matthew Haig, or Egg. I don't know if you pronounce the H in his name or not, but I'm gonna be American and pronounce the H. Anyway, this is the winner for, I want to say general fiction category, but I could be completely wrong. I have no idea what this is about, but I should be able to get the library loan in for this. This one is kind of going to be like a little bit of a loose category, because if for some reason I cannot get the library loan on this, I don't want to buy a book that I like am only reading for an award show. So if the library loan doesn't come into this, I will switch this out for a different Goodreads Choice Award book, but I am like 90% sure that I'll get the library loan on this. So cross our fingers Next roll. Number 5 is, oh look, it says fuck me, because fuck me. That is a natural one for anybody who's not here, or anybody who's new here. And that is a book that I do not want. Next up for roll number 5 was a fuck me. So a book that I don't want to read. And for this one, we're going to use like a prompt jar kind of thing. Because like for me, picking like a book you don't want to read seems like I'm always gonna pick the book that I most want to read out of the things that I don't want to read. So I put all of the books that I have on my physically owned TBR back here that I don't want to read for various reasons on a little slip of paper and put them all in here, and I'm just gonna pull from this jar and choose whatever that book is. So let's shake this up. I say this is a jar. This is like a glittery wine glass with my name on it that my mom, I think, got me for Christmas or something. But let's go in here. They're all stuck to each other. This one, does this one look nice to us? How nice are you going to be to me? Little paper thing. This is, I don't know if you're going to be able to read this. It's not focusing on my face. This is The Lonely Hearts Hotel. I can't tell if that focused at all because I don't have my glasses on and I can't see shit. But I'm gonna assume it did. I'm gonna pull this out from right here. This I got in a book box. I think it was a young adult book box. Apparently it's damaged up here. Okay. Anyway, this is, yeah, it's a book that I got in a book box. I don't know what it's about. Let's see. Two babies are abandoned in a Montreal orphanage in the winter of 1914. Before long, their talents emerge, earning both of them adoration and hatred. Perrault is a piano prodigy. Scrappy Rose can light up even the dreariest room with her dancing and comedy. While forced to travel around the city performing clown routines to raise funds for their orphanage, the children fall in love with each other. They also make plans for a sensational future together, dreaming of the most provocative circus shows the world has ever seen. There's more, but I don't care. So, teen, angsty romance is what this sounds like. That sounds exactly like something I don't want to read, but I want it off of my shelf, so I'm gonna try it out. Maybe it's really good. I guess we'll find out next month. Roll number 6. Really? That's tragic. Apparently we're not having a good month here. So it's a double, which means I'm adding a 7th book, and it's another fuck me, which means another book that I don't want to read. Roll number 6 is a double. So 7 rolls this month. Anyway, again, it's a 1, a fuck me. So another book that I don't want to read. So let's go back to the jar, or the wine glass. It's not a jar. Stop calling it a jar. Let's really, really get down in here. I want this one. One of my hairs fell out and is in my wine glass. Okay, what is this? This is, are you gonna focus? Burning Midnight, which I think is another book from that exact same book box as the last one. This is Burning Midnight. It's from a defunct book box called like the Young Adult book box. I don't remember what it was called. It doesn't exist anymore. You can't subscribe to it. I like started subscribing to it to like build up my like shelves for a while, and then just unsubscribed to it because it went out of business. So, and I haven't barely read any of the books from it. And some of the books that I read from it are like the worst books I've ever read in my entire life, and some of them were actually pretty good. So it's very hit or miss. I don't know why I subscribe to it, because I don't like young adults books that much. So what is this about? Sully is a sphere dealer at a flea market. Oh, I remember this one. So this is a fantasy, and there are like colorful spheres that like are used as magic, and the main character is like sells them. They make you like a little bit better, so you're like a little inch taller, or like a little bit prettier. Sully, who's the sphere seller, teams up with somebody who's like a sphere hunter, and they hunt spheres and things happen, and I don't care. Again, I don't want to read this because it's young adult and not really my thing anymore, but I'm willing to give it a chance. Like I said, some of these books are pretty damn good. All right, roll number 7 is so far away from me. It is a 19. Really? You're gonna unfocus now? Hello? Roll number 7, and thank God, this is the last one. No more doubles. Roll number 7 was a 19, and this is BIPOC author. So that is Black, Indigenous, Person of Color author. For this one, I'm actually going to read an arc that I got like a couple days ago, because I really want to read it, and that is Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. I read, I don't remember the name of the book, but I read a book by Rivers Solomon, An Unkindness of Ghost. Look at me! I read An Unkindness of Ghost by Rivers Solomon last year, and I loved it. It was so good. And then I saw this book was coming out, and the cover is beautiful, and I wanted it, so I pre-ordered it, and then I saw that I could request an arc, so I requested an arc, and then I got approved for the arc, and so now I want to read it, like literally right now. So I'm gonna read that because I can. So far, this is what my TBR looks like. This plus Midnight Library plus Sorrowland, which isn't too bad. Totally doable. Only one like real chunker on here, but that is not all. I have other things that I need to add to my TBR. First is the Buzzwordathon book, and I believe the theme for this month is space, or like galaxy terms. That's what it is, galaxy terms. So I don't have a lot of books on my TBR, like my own TBR, that have a lot of galaxy terms on it. I have like a lot of books on like my like TBR, like any book that I want to read whether I own it or not, but nothing that like really stands out that I like absolutely want to buy right now for Buzzwordathon and read it. But so what I'm going to do with this one, I think I'm going to read this. This is Worlds Seen in Passing, and so worlds would be my galaxy termed. This is an anthology of 10 years of Tor.com short fiction, and Tor.com short fiction is amazing. So I'm just gonna read this like an anthology and read like maybe like one short story a day for the month. I don't honestly know how many short stories are in here, but I'll figure that out later. So this is what I think I'm gonna read for that. I may change my mind if I get something that like fits in like a book box or something. Next theme are my Dritz and Shannara read-throughs, and this month is a lot with Dritz and Shannara. I had a really nice off easy month last month with both series. This month is like, haha, you're cute. So for Shannara, it's the original Shannara trilogy, and I am quoting trilogy because there are 4 books. How this works is Terry Brooks wrote The Sword of Shannara in 1977, and this is the first book. It's huge. This is a chunker of a fantasy book, but this is the very first book in the Shannara universe that Terry Brooks wrote. This follows Shay Omsford, his brother, and the druid Alanon as they go in search of the Sword of Shannara, a legendary sword owned by the Elvish kings, Elvish ruling family, whose last name was Shannara. I guess his name was Gerald Shannara, but famous, historical, Elvish king, magical sword. They need it to defeat the big bad, right? Go on that adventure. Then that was followed up in like the 80s with the Elf Stones of Shinara, which follows Will Omsford, who is Shay's son, and his quest to help the elves save the Elcrease, which is their magical tree that holds back the barrier of demonkind from the rest of the universe. So this is like the generation after, doesn't follow any of the same characters other than Alanon. Alanon's in all the books. This is also one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. So I already know I like this. I guarantee you this is getting 5 stars. I think I read it last year again and it got 5 stars, so it will continue to get 5 stars. Fantastic book. Then this one doesn't have a dust jacket. It came like this when I ordered it. This is the Wish Song of Shannara, and this follows Will Omsford's children, who I don't remember their names because I don't give a shit, and their magical adventure with Alanon. I don't even remember what they're supposed to do in this book. I remember what the Wish Song is, but that's a spoiler, so I'm not going to tell you, but it follows that. And then the 4th book this one is a prequel. It's like book 0 in the trilogy. It is a prequel to the Sword of Shannara, and it follows the druid Alanon as a child. And like throughout the books that I'm just talking about, you hear about Alanon's mentor Brennan, and this follows like the fall of the druid keep and everything like that, and like the druids fighting. It's like infighting and stuff like that. So this one reads first, but it's the last one I'm talking about. So 4 books from the Shannara series. This is by far the best out of all of the Shannara books. I almost guarantee. I have not read all of them. I've read most of them, but from what I have read, this series is the best. So it might be chunky, but at least it's good. For Dritz, it's the Cleric Queen Tet, which means 5 books. I have this bind up of the Cleric Queen Tet since high school. I don't know where the dust jacket is. Again, I've had this since high school. I don't know if I ever had a dust jacket on this or not. Who knows? It's like 20 years old. And you could kind of tell. But yeah, this is another one of my top 5 all-time favorite books. I always consider this, like I've always had it in one bind-up, so I've always considered this one book, even though it is technically 5 separate novels inside this book. How many pages is this? This is over 1,000 pages long. So it's a chunky one. So yeah, lots of Shannara, lots of Dritz. This actually doesn't follow Dritz at all. This follows Catterley, and he is a cleric of Gong, I think. I could be wrong about the god there, but it follows Catterley, and there are characters in here that team up. There are characters here that later in the Dritz universe team up with Dritz, so that's why we need to fit this one in, is because it follows the Boulder Shoulder brothers as side characters in here who become side characters in the Dritz, like in Dritz's group of friends later. So there you go. So now my TBR is looking like this. This is really heavy. And I haven't gotten to my monthly theme yet. So I'm gonna do a monthly theme, but it's not going to be as featured this month as it normally is. Let me put these back on the floor. All right, so the theme this month is like April Fools. And I'm gonna play a joke on myself where I want to kind of read books that I don't really want to read this month. So the goal is to do one a week, and I'm going to use the prompt jar that you saw me pull from earlier to do that, where I'm just going to once a week minimum, if I can fit it, like I'm going to schedule all of these books out, and if I get to them and have a time to read like an extra book that week or something, then I will pull from this jar. At least once a week, pull from this jar and get a book that I don't want to read. So I will... Let me know how you want to see that. If you want to see me vlog it, or if you just want to like see at the end of the month, like all of the pulls that I got for each week, I'm definitely going to record the pulls, but if you want me to like pull a book out of here, show you what it is, and then like read it and then tell you what I think in like a vlog form, where it's like just a weekly vlog of books that I don't want to read, and then maybe like talk about what else I've read that week, I can do it that way too. If you guys don't care, then I'll probably be lazy about it and just do all the pulls at the end of the month. But let me know what you think about that. I am sorry for the length of this TBR. That was a lot of talking, but let me know down in the comments below what you think. And if you want to know what I think about the books that I am reading this month, make sure you subscribe and come back. And I will have a video telling you all about the books that I read. I do 2 monthly wrap-ups, one in the middle of the month and one at the end of the month, because I read like 20 something books every month, and that would be a really long wrap up, almost like a really long TBR, like what I just recorded. But thank you for being here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.